We make things. We use our hands, minds, and machines to build, to fix, to improve. We're known as do-it-yourselfers, home improvement fans, fix-it fanatics, inventors. At our core, though, we're all makers. So let's jump in and make something. Every year, hundreds of kids drown in home swimming pools. If you've got a pool, thinking about getting one, or have young children, you've got to see this show. I'll show you what I've done to make my pool safer for my toddler. Then I'll share my container plant potting secrets with you. And finally, we'll head down east to help a Maine couple install a cupola. Or is it a cupola? Well, either way, it's a classy and classic addition to their garage. So how about it? Let's make a house call. Each year, some 250 children under the age of 5 drown in swimming pools. The fact is, it's the second leading cause of accidental death among children in this age group. Now, a lot of parents and caregivers think they'll hear a child in distress, but the fact is, drowning happens quickly and without warning.
Without question, adult supervision is the most important protection against accidental drowning.
However, the sad truth is that 2/3 of toddler drownings happen when parental supervision fails and there's no backup system in place. So in order to prevent toddler drownings, we have to think in terms of layers of protection. Now right here, I've got a set of sliding doors that opens out onto the pool area. I've equipped it with an alarm. When this is open, after about 7 seconds, that alarm will sound. I can silence the alarm by pushing this button on the side. Now if I want to use this door myself, I just open it up, press the button, and pass through. Now this is my second layer of protection, a fence that runs all the way around the pool. This one is 3 feet high, and that's the absolute minimum. Now here's something you don't want to do. Put a piece of furniture like this close to the fence, it could actually act as a ladder for a toddler. Now my gate is self-closing. You can see the closer down there, that's that black spring. And I've mounted the latch on the inside of the gate so a toddler can't reach it, and high enough so they can't reach it. When I let go of this, it'll close and latch automatically. Now this gate works pretty well, but there are a couple of problems with it that I want to correct. One is, I'm not crazy about this exposed spring right here. I'm concerned that a child might get their fingers caught in that. And then this latch, while it works good most of the time, sometimes because of changes in humidity, it just doesn't latch. So I'm going to replace this hardware with something a little bit better.
These are adjustable self-closing hinges. First, I mount base plates to the post and gate. Then bolt the hinges to the plates. First on the gate side, then on the post. The spring itself is completely concealed, and I adjust spring tension with a screwdriver. Well, the gate's self-closing. Now it's time to make it self-latching. I start by mounting 2 brackets, then slip the latch mechanism into place and secure it with a screw that will be concealed when the gate is closed.
The latch mechanism is magnetic, fewer moving parts, and more reliable. And finally, the gate is easily locked. Now, if a child should somehow get by the gate latch or the latch should malfunction, the next layer of protection is a gate alarm.
A couple of screws are all that's needed to mount the battery-operated alarm. Magnetic sensors are attached to both the gate and post.
Now, if a child is somehow able to operate the latch, and pass through the gate. That will activate the alarm. In a few seconds, it'll go off automatically. It can be silenced by pushing the button here on the side. Now, if I want to pass through here, I simply open the gate, push the button once, pass on through, and the alarm will not go off.
This is another fence alternative. Made of nylon mesh, it's designed to be set up as needed. Aluminum posts slip into holes that have been bored in the pool deck. The fence goes up in sections that clip together with bolt snaps.
Now, sometimes looks can be deceiving. Take this fence, for example. It may not look very strong, but actually, it's quite tough. Also, because it's nylon mesh, children can't get a handhold or a foothold and climb over. It has a self-closing and self-latching gate, and the latch itself is way up here, again, well out of the reach of toddlers. But maybe the best thing about this fence is that when you don't want it or need it, you can take it down in a matter of minutes. Another layer of protection that I use is a pool alarm. This will alert me if a child falls into the pool and there's nobody around. It simply sits on the side of the pool like this, and it's activated by a change in water displacement. Now, this will simulate a toddler falling in.
The surface disturbance caused by a falling child will set off the poolside alarm, which, in turn, sends a signal to a remote unit inside the house. An alarm like this may not, however, be activated by a child who climbs or walks into the water. That's why this product, called the Safety Turtle, was designed. The band is locked onto a child's wrist at times when they might have access to a pool.
Now, once that wristband gets wet, this alarm goes off. It can be operated by battery or plugged into a household circuit. Real quickly, let me review the layers of protection. Alarms on doors that lead out into the pool area. A fence completely around the pool that's at least 3 feet high. A gate that's self-closing and self-latching. A gate alarm. And a pool alarm. Now, you and I both know that none of these devices are a substitute for supervision. But we're all human, and anyone can have a momentary lapse of attention. On top of that, kids can move so quickly. So think of these as an added layer of protection.
I'm up early today to pick up some potting soil. As soon as I get home, I'll be giving some of my flowering plants more growing room.
I really love my container plants, but they do have special needs that have to be considered, especially when you're planting them. Now, what I've discovered is that the main difference between a plant that's set into a container like this and one that's put into the ground is the amount of soil surrounding the root system. In a container, it's very limited. That means the plant can dry out very quickly. On the other hand, if there's not proper drainage, you can actually drown a plant. So water control is really important. Now, I always use a planter that has a good drainage hole in the bottom. And I also want to make sure that that hole doesn't get plugged up or the soil doesn't wash through it. So that means some kind of drainage material in the bottom of the planter. I could use crushed rock, but I kind of like this. These are styrofoam peanuts. They won't ever rot, and they're very lightweight, which makes it easy to carry this around. Now, I've learned through hard experience that not all soil is created equal, and that it's really important, especially in container plants, to use a good quality potting soil. I'm going to further condition this potting soil by adding these polymer granules. In this case, about 5 teaspoons to this amount of soil. Now, these work like thousands of tiny, small, dry sponges. When the water hits, they absorb it, like that, and then release it into the soil as it's needed. Pretty smart, huh? Now I'm just going to mix these into the soil. So here's our plant. I want to get it out of the container, so usually I kind of like to push on this a little bit to loosen it up. And we should be able to take it out now. There it goes. Now this plant is in pretty good shape as far as it not being root bound. I have seen the roots, as you probably have, wrap all the way around here. In that case, we want to break them up a little bit so that the roots know that they have now got some more room in which to grow. Okay, I'll just drop it right in here. I'm gonna settle it in. Just take a look, be sure we're down below the rim. We are. Now I want to backfill that space between the edge of the root ball here and the side of the pot and gently pack this in, not too tightly. Well, the soil's in. Now I've just got two final steps. One is I want to give this plant some water to sort of settle the soil in, and I want to feed it to stimulate the root growth. And for that, I'll use this kind of fertilizer right here, which is designed for transplants. Dilute that into some water, and then pour this on. And as the water hits that soil, it's going to level it out and settle it down. And the plant food is going to stimulate those roots to grow. Now, I'll want to repeat this process in about a week, and then about a week after that, I'll start regular feedings. Container plants on decks and patios can dry out quickly, especially during hot weather. That's why I check them daily and water often. But I figure that's a small price to pay for the pleasure they give me. The Novak family of Lincoln Beach, Maine has asked for a hand. So I'm going to head off and see what they're up to. How are you folks?
Hi.
You must be Allison.
Yes.
And you're Chris.
Hi.
That makes you Penny.
Hi.
Hey Penny, how are you?
Hi.
Boy, we are really out in the wilderness here. Now, let me ask you something. Do you ever feel isolated living here?
Well, not really. We enjoy the peace and quiet.
Well, I understand we're going to do some rooftop construction today.
That's correct. I'd like to put a cupola up on the top of my garage roof.
Is it cupola or cupola?
I don't really know.
Maybe we'll find out. Okay. Well, show me the roof. Let's see what's going on.
Sure.
Cupolas date back centuries and were first used to let light and air into cathedrals. The word cupola actually means little dome in Latin.
All right, Chris, shall we find the center line of the roof here?
Okay.
You'll take that down. I'll get a reading on this end. All right, I've got 13 feet 8 inches. That's 404 inches. Okay, 202. That puts her right here. 202. Great, Chris. Now this cupola is not only going to be in the center of the roof this way, but it's also going to be in the center of the roof this way, which means it's going to be straddling the ridge right here.
We need to figure out the exact angle at the peak of the roof and then transfer that to our cupola base. To do that, we take a couple of 1x4s and clamp them together to create a temporary bevel gauge.
Okay, that's snug.
To lock the bevel gauge in position, we secure it with screws. Then I use a level and draw a plumb or vertical line at the intersection of the two arms on the bevel gauge.
Now that's the angle that's going to be on the base of the cupola. So let's go down and take a look at it. I haven't seen it yet. So this is the base of the cupola right here.
That's right. This is the cupola base.
What is it, cupola or cupola?
Excuse me, guys. I looked it up. It's cupola.
Cupola. That's the silliest sounding word I have ever heard. Well, thank you for clearing that up for us, Manny.
Since our cupola is perfectly square, any side can be the front. Once we choose the front, we'll mark the center of the side and use a square to draw a vertical line from top to bottom.
And connect the line here. All right. Now we're going to align this line with the center line that we drew earlier. And Chris is going to put this leg right on the front corner because we want the front corner flush to the roof. I'm going to eyeball this now to line up these two lines. And we'll double check this with a square just to be sure. Good. Now, we'll just draw the line on the inside of the bevel gauge here and here. Okay. All right, Chris, we're all set to cut right there.
Great.
Next, Chris uses a jigsaw to cut along our guidelines with just one chance to get it right. There we go. Looks good. We'll go up to the roof and see if our measurements made the cut. Not bad, huh? Not bad at all.
Way to go.
Even though our eye says it's right, we'll use a level to double check ourselves.
Okay, bring it back to me just a little.
We don't want any water to seep underneath the cupola, so I'll use some flashing to cover the seam between the roof and the base. Now here's what's going to happen next. These 2x4 blocks are going to get screwed to the roof, right inside here. And then we're going to nail through the side of the cupola base, and that's how it will be attached to the roof itself. But I'm concerned about the screws that are going through here penetrating the roof. So, and this was actually Chris's idea, we're going to put some water and ice barrier on the bottom of these 2x4 blocks, just like this. We'll wrap it around the sides. It's sticky on one side there. Then when the screws go through, we'll have a watertight seal right here. Good. Well, this is the middle section right here. Right, Chris?
Yes, it is.
I guess I can't think of a better name for it. We check to make sure the overhang is equal on all sides. Then we nail it down, making sure the nails go all the way through to the base. Okay, Chris. Time for the crowning glory. Well, that's beautiful. That's the top, though, the roof.
Yes, it
all
is.
copper, with copper over the seams here, copper rivets. Oh, this is gorgeous. Okay, this just sets down.
Yes, it does.
Beautiful. Ah. Just keeps getting better. Now, how do you know which way is north, though?
The front of the building faces south.
All right, so we'll adjust this. So I tighten the last screw, but it still seems like it's missing something. What have you got there? Ah, that is perfect. A sailboat for the coast of Maine. That's great. You know what? Let's go downstairs, get a cup of coffee, and wait for the wind to come up. I want to see this baby sail. You know, it's been a wonderful day, and what a terrific project. You know that? I really enjoyed this.
Well, thank you so much for coming. It looks great.
Oh, you're absolutely welcome. You know, I think the wind has shifted out of the northeast. Storms are brewing. I better get out of here before I get caught in it.
Okay.
Thanks so much,
Thank you.
guys. Wow, what a storm. It's really coming down out there, which gives me a chance to mention something about storm doors. You know, it's actually not the door itself I want to show you, but the closer that holds it open. Now, in the past, in order to keep the door in the open position, you had to slide a washer along the shaft right here. Kind of awkward, but in this new design, all you have to do is push this button. The door stays open. Now, if I'm coming back outside with a big load, all I have to do is push on the door, and it shuts automatically.
To view today's projects again, visit ronhazelton.com. Step-by-step home improvement tips when you need them. Let Ron show you how to do it yourself.